Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back in third session or third lecture of this topic, providing leadership. Uh, I am talking with the students of Master of Education in Leadership and Management in the course Instructional Leadership and Performance Evaluation of the Educational Personnels. Earlier we have discussed in detail the provision of leadership and leadership styles. And further in session second, I was talking about the secrets of 7 secrets of leadership and motivation of the teachers at working place. Here, at the moment, we are going to talk about how do schools keep teachers motivated and satisfied in their job. So, towards teacher motivation and their job satisfaction, uh, you can see this diagram. A teacher on her chair is relaxed, but in what a stupid way that within shoes, he have placed her shoes on the table. But it is, as I said, that stupid. It is in our culture. I think so. At their culture, it's not any type of stupidity. It's their style of relaxing style. So they are enjoying the same. Uh, as far as job satisfaction is concerned, you can see uh, there are different certain the match between employees' expectations of the job and the rewards that the job provides. You know, employees come at their workplace for certain rewards, and the organization have some expectations from their job. When there is alignment between the expectations and rewards, then the job satisfaction is this level is considered as job satisfaction. Teachers leave teaching because of the environment and conditions under which they work, a desire for further personal growth, a disconnect between their philosophy of education and that of their school and or the educational system in general, and a lack of support and respect and recognition of their efforts. So these are the reasons behind which teachers leave their job place and uh, shift from one to another. The plan. What do we mean? Plan over here. It provides support from administration, make teachers feel both needed and respected. A working environment that is both well maintained and conducive to teaching and learning. Shared leadership and a sense of ownership over decisions made in the school. Let's discuss in detail the school climate, culture, and change. Let me share with you what is organizational culture. The behavior of human who are part of an organization. The groups have certain things that are shared or held in common that make them generally accepted. The shared element is the customs, rituals, traditions of the organization, and values and norms. These are the elements which are shared in the organization. And if they are generally common and are accepted, then it becomes the organizational culture. Shared orientation that binds the organization together and give it a distinctive identity, according to Ho and Miskell 2008. Here you can see it start from superficial, deep, abstract, concrete. These are the levels of culture. Deep and abstract tacit assumptions like nature of human nature, nature of interaction, nature of reality, nature of knowledge, relationship to colleagues, relationship to environment. Then comes the core values like trust, authenticity, commitment, teamwork, collaboration. Further, shared norms are the never criticize colleagues, stick together as a group, handle your own discipline, help students after school, and the artifacts are stories, myths, and legends, icons, and rituals. So, the things that distinguish between the levels of culture are the components: tacit assumptions, core values, shared norms, and artifacts. Uh, and unanimously, all these play how these are collectively make the culture of any of the organization. Consideration of strong culture. The school can be considered has a strong culture by these following basic assumptions. The relationships among teachers are primarily group oriented and shared decisions are determined through debate. So, debate makes it possible uh, to develop a consensus among the groups and teachers through uh, certain type of arguments. Teachers are highly motivated and competent. All teachers are evaluated by the same fair standards. Teachers view the school as a big family. School culture. Schools develop their own culture, develop a core of common values that members embrace and guide their behavior. It depends upon the society, locality, ethnography, racism, religion, uh, locality, urban or rural, and within the rural, within the urban, there are certain uh, values and the common values on the basis of which the culture of the school is developed. Sometimes the behavior of leader and prolonged time by the teachers in that school also set a certain stand of the culture of the school. In strong culture, core values are held intensely, shared widely, and guide organizational behavior. Must be consistent with the authentic principal practices. Functions of culture are creates distinctions among organizations, provides sense of identity, facilitates the development of commitment to the groups, enhance stability in the social system, social glue that binds the organization together, guide and shape the attitudes and behavior of organizational members. There are some common elements of the culture like innovation, stability, attention to detail, outcome orientation, people orientation, team orientation, and aggressiveness. Let me discuss in detail the innovation. It means be creative and take risk. And stability mean focus on the status quo rather than change. Attention to detail means concern for precision and detail. Outcome orientation, emphasis, result. People orientation, sensitive to individuals. Team orientation, collaboration and teamwork. And competitive rather than easygoing is the aggressiveness. School climate refers to teachers' perceptions of the school's work environment affected by the formal organization, informal organization, and the politics. So these all three components have an impact on the school climate. Either it is politics of the organization and outside the organization, or the shape of or type of the organization, either it is formal or informal. The set of internal characteristics that distinguishes one school from another and influence the behavior of its members. Here are the four types of the climate of the school: open climate, engaged climate, disengaged climate, and closed climate. When we discuss about the open climate, it means that cooperation and respect between the faculty and principal is major concern. Principal listens and open to teachers' decisions. They own them and have a level of consideration towards their suggestions. Accordingly, principals give freedom to the teachers. Teachers know each other well and committed to their work. And when we say the engaged, ineffective attempts of the principals to control, the principal is rigid and autocratic. The principal hinders the teachers with the burdensome activities and bushy work. Teachers ignore the principal's behavior and conduct themselves as professionals. And it is said disengaged when the principal behavior is open, concerned, and supportive. Principal listens and gives faculty freedom to act and relieves most of the burdensome. The faculty is unwilling to accept the principal. Teachers do not respect each other and disengaged from tasks. And it is said closed if ineffective attempts of the principals to control. The principal is rigid and autocratic. Principal hinders the teachers with burdensome activities and busy work. Teachers ignore the principal's behavior and conduct themselves as professionals. So on the basis of these different four type of characteristics, these characteristics plays a role towards creation of the climate of the school. So on the basis of uh, some set, it is known as the open climate, and on the basis of the other set, it is known as the engaged climate, and on the type of third one, it is known as the disengaged, and on the basis of fourth type, it is known as the closed climate type of the school. Major thing here is to look into is that this is all the way on the basis of the role of the principal in the organization. The person is same when he or she is behaving in terms of first one, then he will be open, engaged, disengaged, and Let's see what is the healthy school climate versus unhealthy school climate. Here is a comparison between healthy and unhealthy school climate. On the basis of the following 5 points, we can say that the school climate of one school is healthy, and on the basis of non-availability of these one, it becomes unhealthy. So when we say the healthy school climate, it means the protected from unreasonable community and parental pressure. That is the healthy climate, and when it is bombarded or unreasonable demands from parental and community groups, then it is unhealthy climate. The principal has the dynamic leadership in the healthy one, and the principal does not demonstrate leadership is the unhealthy climate. The teachers are committed to teaching and learning is the indicator of healthy school climate, whereas teachers are not happy with their colleagues or the students is the indicator of unhealthy school climate. Achievable goals for students is the indicator of healthy school climate, whereas little pressure for academic excellence is the unhealthy school climate. In healthy school climate, students are highly motivated and respect other students who achieved academically, and in the absence of these things, it becomes unhealthy school climate. Here are some assumptions according to Hoy and Tartar, stated in 1997, which plays role towards changing the school climate. First one is change is a characteristics of all organizations. Change can be random or a resource for improvement, but it cannot be eliminated. Change has direction. Change can be progressive or regressive or aimless. Organizational learning is possible when schools develop their own learning process to solve their problems. Principals and teachers have the potential to learn how to solve problems together. Schools can be learning organizations when school can become places where professionals can continuously expand their capacity to create the results that are desired, then they are considered as the learning organization. But in the unavailability of these things make it unhealthy organization, not ready for change, not ready to accept the change. So change basically is a major component towards the organizational characteristics that deal with them. Strategy to develop healthy and open learning organization. There are stated some strategies accordingly. As you can see that number one, identify the problem. Discrepancies in the climate profiles. Establish a problem solving team to change climate. Teachers must be involved. Third strategy is the team takes on the problem. Teachers examine the data with the principal and express a willingness to resolve the troubling issues. A diagnosis of the problem. The team diagnoses the causes of the problem. Develop an action plan. The team develops an action plan by examining alternatives and consequences. Moreover, implement action plan is very necessary. That plays a vital role towards uh, development of uh, healthy and learning organizations. Evaluate, assess the consequences of the plan by collecting new data and evaluating discrepancies. Supervision and the renewal of school. Supervision is the concept that is based on the fact improvement of instructions as a cooperative project. It's concerned to stimulate, coordinate, guide, and make teachers directive. Supervision can be called superior vision. It is the vision which has the mission. It's looking forward and has large scope for growth of education. Educational supervision is defined according to Wiles, Harold, Spears, and supervision is assistance in the development of a better teaching learning situation. Supervision has gradually moved from improvement of instruction to improvement of learning. Supervision is an expert technical service primarily concerned with studying and improving the conditions that surround learning and pupil growth. Nature of educational supervision, you can see here from bottom to top: democratic, creative, and constructive, professional, based on some philosophy, and progressive. So as a process, as a function, as a service activity, these are crucial towards the uh, supervision. This is the nature of educational supervision. In fact, you can see here types of educational supervision. You can read starting from corrective, preventive, creative, training, laissez-faire, monitoring, mentoring, advisory, clinical accountability. So all these have been described in detail. Uh, these all types, like corrective is try to find faults, make records of faults of teachers, bring notice to higher authorities, rarely give suggestion, that is the corrective. And in the preventive, helps teachers and higher authority anticipate new situation better than corrective. And in creative, appreciate and encourage teachers for new things and experiments. Training emphasizes the improvement of teachers and techniques, focus on training and guidance. शीशा use करना. Laissez-faire, no help for improvement, left free to work by their own choice. Moreover, its further components: mentoring, accountability, supervisor, monitoring, clinical advisory, clinical friendship are here. And one we say about the renewal, the development of personal and professional self through reflection and revelation, re-evaluation, renewal implies doing over again, revising, making new yet restoring, re-establish and re-evaluating according to Bolan. Teacher engages in the process of for himself or herself, assume a need of for teachers to grow and develop on the job, less of a function of polishing existing skills of keeping up with the latest development and more and function. These are the assumptions on the basis of which renewal of supervision are made, and these are the roles and practices on the basis of which different type of supervision is carried out. The role of teacher is internalized of knowledge and principle is a friend, whereas the practices are personal and critical competencies, build caring community through reflection, re-evaluation by encouraging reflection, conversation. Thank you. That is all about